Never don't bet, we cannot falter. In the battle, we're tried and true. Indiana, Indiana, we're all for you.
Welcome, everybody, to the Indiana Basketball Weekly Show on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. Remember, check out BetMGM. You can click on the link in the description and below, and YouTube if you want to bet on this week's Indiana-Maryland game. Also, follow us on Twitter at Grueling Truth. I'm your co-host, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I'd like to welcome my other two co-hosts. We'll start off with the founder of the Got Woodson Facebook page. Go check it out. It's the best page. Well, I mean, he says it's the best page. It probably is, though, from what I've seen. Brian Mohr. How you doing, Brian?
I'm wonderful. I've got my patting myself on the back for being 2 for 2 over the weekend. So there you go.
On what?
Well, I said if Indiana lost to Purdue, that Allen
You
will be
didn't say
fired.
if Indiana lost to Purdue. You just said he was going to get fired.
I said if they lose to Purdue, he's getting fired. That's what I
He
said.
get fired. He takes his $20 million and moves for sales off in the sunset.
15. It's 15 now. It's 15 now.
Oh, is that
Still
all?
doesn't suck.
He won.
Yeah.
He won.
And I also said Indiana would win by 11. They won by 13 on Harvard.
So that makes you
guys
right that you picked them
does.
by 11 and they won by
You said-
13.
Yeah. Well, you said Harvard would cover the spread.
Yeah. And what's your point?
You're
So
wrong.
basically, we've done this show for 2 years. And for the first time, you've been right. Now you want to throw it in our face.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. And next up, a member of the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame, which has been besmirched because of who gets elected next. You know who gets elected next, Steve?
No, who gets elected?
Dan Dockage goes in with the next class. So you'll be in there with Dan Dockage. How do you feel about that?
Sweet. I love Dan.
No, you don't. You told me that. Nobody loves Dan.
I'm sorry. I had the
mom.
Got Woodson mentality. I'm not allowed to say anything bad about anybody
Blah,
or
blah,
anything
blah, blah.
related to IU
Blah, blah.
basketball. It's in
Blah,
the
blah, blah.
bylaws.
Yeah, but Dan
If it's
Dockage is
kind
not
of my
related to
voices,
IU
I will
basketball.
not critique or criticize anything to do with IU basketball.
It'll get some new material.
In other
But
words,
Dan
it's Willy Wonka
Dan Dockage
of
has
IU
nothing to do with
basketball
IU basketball.
Yeah, that's true.
Willy Wonka. Should be
Dan's just some bald dude.
I got your chocolate.
Willy Wonka.
Dan's
I
just a
got
bald
your
dude that
chocolate.
looks like a penis. What did you just say? I got your chocolate?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, guys. Yesterday, Indiana finally played a good half in the second half. They downed Harvard 89-76. When you look at the score sheet here, the thing that stands out to me, Steve, Indiana shot 57% from the field. Harvard shot 43%. Now, Harvard was a lot more successful at the three-point line, as everybody is, 9 for 26. Indiana just 4 for 15. IU shot 13 for 17 from the free throw line. They out-rebounded Harvard 34-26. 20 assists to Harvard's 13. So I would say this. I saw major improvement in the second half of this game, and a lot of that was Mackenzie M'Baku, who played extremely well, but the other one was Ware. Ware has been unreal so far this year, and I think he was something like 12 for 13 in that game. And right now, Ware looks like a guy that's probably going to be a one and done because he's pretty damn good, Steve.
Yeah, Indiana's, every team develops a personality, and there are very few teams that have a personality that encompasses all facets of the game. Indiana right now, the weak side is...
Wait a second, Steve. Did you just say that it encompasses all facets of the game?
Yeah.
It's facet. A faucet you get water out of, dumbass. Go ahead.
Well, we do things a little differently in California anyway.
Shocker.
Hey, Brian, will you quit picking on the liberal from California? Go ahead, Steve. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Indiana definitely is creating a personality now of being a dominant inside team. We're seeing them strengthen up, and I was really impressed with them willing to be very unselfish and dump the ball inside. They're going to need to develop an outside perimeter game, or they're going to become very one-dimensional, and thus, when you're one-dimensional, you become a little bit easier to guard. But inside right now, the big statistic for me was paint points. IU outscored Harvard 50-28 in the paint.
Yep.
And I think that's what's important. And second chance points, they still took a little bit of a hit there, but offensively, the shooting 57% and getting the ball inside, which probably had a lot to do with that 57%, was a good thing. And right now, you're right. M'Baku looked really good. Ware looks like potentially he's going to be the star of this basketball team at this point. And Renaud, no slouch. That three combined for what? 17, 18, and 28 points. That's
53.
it. The note I had down here is play Cup more. Here's my deal. If Mike Woodson, let me just finish Mike, then you can go.
I ain't gonna say anything. I agree.
Coach here the next 4 years, he wants to be playing Cup right now.
Yes.
Because
I said
Cup
that since before this year.
Cup is
Brian
a player who's going to be there 4 years and is going to get into a really good college basketball player. And Mike should be right now. I would say Xavier is my sixth man off the bench, or Galloway, whichever way you want to go. I'm starting to believe what Brian's saying about Galloway maybe being a little stronger to the team off the bench. I don't know yet. But Cup needs to be playing and handling the ball and learning things. Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, in 21 minutes, he didn't score a whole bunch of points. He only had 2 points, but he had three rebounds. He had 3 assists. And the big thing to me here, Brian, was 0 turnovers. So Gabe Cupps is the kind of guy, to me, that can affect a game even if he's not scoring.
Yeah, and there's no doubt. I mean, the only disagreement I would have is that Harvard guard Mack lit it up after Xavier went down. So I think
he was lighting it up before Xavier went down.
Yeah, it wasn't on X though.
Does it matter?
I don't think it was on. What?
Does it matter who it's on?
Okay. Anyway, no. I mean, I think Cupps is he's unselfish. I think he runs the offense pretty darn well. I still wish we had a shooting guard there. That's why I'm going to stick with my point on Galloway. I mean, Galloway had 5.
Cup can become a shooting guard.
I'm sorry?
I think Cup can become a shooting guard.
I don't think you need him to. I think this, to me, I mean, we know Xavier's not shy. Why not try Xavier to shooting guard?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Cup gives them options, Mike. Go ahead. I think Cup gives them
the other guy here that we're missing is Caleb Banks, who I would like to see play more. He only played 10 minutes, but in those 10 minutes, he was 2 for 4 from 3-point range. He had a turnover, but he had 6 points in 10 minutes. He was extremely productive. That's the second or third game in a row he's been productive. And I think that's a guy we need to see more of. And my other question is, why didn't you see Sparks more? But then when I look at Renaud, M'Baku, and Ware, why would we need to see him more? So overall, I thought this was a good performance. Anthony Leo played 6 minutes, and he had a rebound and an assist. So paying for his scholarship, right?
Yeah, I think he paid his. I think he maybe played his way back into some more minutes. Leo did.
I don't think so. I think.
You don't think so?
I think if he plays his way into minutes, it's because the other people are bad, and that's not to be mean, but
I mean, there's no manual out there right now that says M'Baku is going to duplicate what he did. He may go back to the M'Baku.
Yeah.
But what I did do, I did have my buddy who owns Uber Eats, and he made sure that there was plenty of Taco Bell at M'Baku's house.
You don't have any friends, Steve. Jeez.
I have friends.
You don't. And none of them know anything about Taco Bell.
You're right.
Okay. So let's just cut the shit. All right. Tell us
not only
from now on.
Caleb's going to be hard to keep off the court, but don't forget, I think Walker these last 2 games has played very, very well too. I mean, we've got so much depth on the front court.
Walker, he played 13 minutes. He was 3 for 4. That's another one I didn't understand. But then again, those first 3 guys are playing so well, it's hard to take them out of the game. And the best thing about this is the first game where M'Baku really was allowed to play in the second half.
Yeah.
So,
but you saw the confidence in his shooting was there. I mean, his defense still has got a lot to work.
Yeah, but if he could shoot the ball and he can drop 20 a game, it's not so big a deal if he plays defense or not. I mean, I'm not saying I want him to go out there and just let guys run around and score on him, but let's face it, he was brought here to score points. And he did. Yeah. And he also got, I mean, it was 18 points, 8 rebounds. And I mean, it's a huge step forward for him. He still had several defensive breakdowns, but this is the thing. Even on the defensive end, he looked more engaged than he had before. I think it's also huge, Brian, that Indiana won without Xavier Johnson. You know, he didn't look healthy in the first half. He was limping on several possessions. He lacked explosions moving side to side. I really think that it's going to be a while before we see Xavier again. He's had these foot issues before, but I mean, when I look at it, it was a very good thing that this team was able to win this game without Xavier.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, the only thing that worries me is we're already thin at the guard spot. If X is out for a while, somebody's got to step up.
Well, and you've got
who's going to be?
You got Cups, you got Galloway. The problem is there's not a whole hell of a lot else there at guard.
That's the point. Either Gunn or I don't know if you move Banks. Can Banks play the shooting guards role? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, and CJ Gunn doesn't really give you a lot of hope, if you know what I mean.
Renaud looks like he can handle the rock enough too.
Renaud can't play guard.
Not guard, but he can handle the rock.
Yeah, and I think this. I mean, I've seen teams play before with 1 point guard, a big man, and 3 guys that were really, you know, smaller power forwards. It's just according to how well they move the ball. And I think with M'Baku, there's enough offensive diversity there. And the same thing with Ware, that this doesn't get bogged down as much. And I don't think you need a bunch of extra guards. But I also think the Xavier injury might be why we saw Anthony Leal a little more also, Brian.
Well, yeah, I think Woodson at that point was trying to figure out, you know, what else to do. And, you know, Anthony didn't hurt himself. I mean, he got burned on a couple of plays, but he didn't, you know, it wasn't a negative impact on the game. I mean, he had some good minutes. Like you said, he had an assist and a rebound. He didn't shoot, but he moved the ball around. So, I mean, that might be what we need. But I'd still like to see a good shooting guard on the 2 spot. If Cups is our point guard, we still need a good 2.
Well, and the issue there is how long is Newton going to be out? Because that's probably the missing piece.
Yeah. But you know, the other thing is I'm not so as much worried about in the paint. Steve, you probably could talk about this better than I do, but you know, I love Trace Jackson Davis. He was a great player for us, but he didn't have an outside shot. We got 3 players now playing the front court that can shoot from the outside, which is so I don't think teams can. We broke the zone against Harvard. They ran the zone on us. We broke it again. So I'm not as worried if our points are coming from the front court.
Shut your damn dog up, whoever that is.
It wasn't mine.
Mine.
I know whose dog it is. It's the same dog who it was 7 years ago. Go ahead.
So I just think.
Actually, he'll be 9 on December 1st.
No, but I'm saying we've been doing this show for like 7 or 8 years, and the dog's always barking. Go ahead.
If he keeps barking, he's going to set off my 5 dogs. So, no, I think we're, you know, I'm comfortable.
You don't have dogs, Brian. You have dachshunds. Go ahead.
Oversized rats.
That's a Chihuahua.
Anyway, so if Cups can play the point, you know, maybe we run like a Caleb Banks. I don't know. I'm hung up. Guys can say it to me, but I'm still hung up on Galloway starting. I just don't see him as a 2.
Well,
He's too small
I think
to be
so. We don't have a whole lot of options at number 2 right now.
That's true.
And I think this. I think Galloway is a guy, even though he's not going to give you great play, he will play hard, he will be smart, and he won't hurt you. And I think that Woodson trusts him, which is why it's going to take a lot for Woody to cut his minutes, I think.
Well, let's see what Galloway does. And you know, he may have been. We don't know really what the conversations have been, but he may have been told, hey, handle the rock, be the point guard. And now he may come and say, I have enough confidence in Cup with you backing him up. Let's get you shooting more. Because Galloway only took what? What was Galloway here? Let me see. I got stats. He was 2 for 9 and not good. And 0 for 4. So, he's going to have to up his game, shooting more. He's going to have to be able to put 15 points a game on the table for us.
Hey, and I don't know about you, but I think we should go ahead and start the portal recruiting process for Malik Mack. I think that would answer a lot of issues with this team right now. Of course, it wouldn't be able to happen until next year. But
I was going to say, Malik Mack is an example of the problems that IU is going to face all season long. They do not have perimeter defense that's capable. And Malik Mack is a mid-range, good college basketball player who got hot.
I don't think so. Malik Mack does it in every game.
Well, he's leading the NCAA in scoring right now.
That's what I mean. He does it in every game, and their schedule is not
points
overly
on the
tough.
board and putting effective points on the board are two different things.
I don't think so, Steve, because I think he puts effective points on the board because his team's 5-2.
What was the final score of the game?
Well, they lost the game. So
all right. So they weren't effective points.
Oh, they weren't?
No.
So they didn't count?
No, they counted, but they weren't
effective. So tell me what
the
score would have been if he wouldn't have scored.
Yeah, it would have been worse, no doubt.
It would have been 27 points worse.
Well,
so just because your team, I don't think there's anybody else on that team that's going to pick up the slack.
Not 27 points, no, but somebody would have picked up 10.
Malik Mack can play, and I would take.
No, he's a good player, but he's still, he's a good player. He would do good to have play for Indiana right now. He would elevate Indiana stature significantly. If a team like IU got their hands on him.
We got Balin. Good evening, gentlemen. Hope you're staying warm. Mike, he didn't give a shit if you guys are or not. But that's because y'all are in warm places. I understand that, but I just figured I'd spin it in my direction. Go Hoosiers. Let's hire John Gruden for IU football. The hell with it. Go big or bust. It's IU football. What's the worst that can happen?
Gruden wouldn't take the job.
Gruden would take the job if you paid him enough money.
Oh, hell, Gruden's getting paid $10 million a year for the next 10 years to sit home and do nothing.
Good point. And he has to give that up.
Why would he want to come and coach IU football? Are you kidding me?
Because he's not getting a job anywhere he wants to get a job because of the emails. But for some reason, those responses to his emails from all those NFL general managers are never allowed to be seen. So I would be fine with John Gruden, but he ain't coming here.
I'd be fine with John Gruden, but you're right. He ain't coming here. Oh, there's no way he'd waste his time trying to resurrect Indiana football.
No. And the problem is, I don't know who's coming here. Brian, what's your prediction on the IU football coach?
I think they're going to have to go. I don't think they're going to get a head coach to come to Indiana. Not right now. I think they're going to have to try to find a good offensive coordinator. I like that guy down at Florida State, Adkins. But, we already got a fire sale going on. I mean, you got 12 or 14 kids have already entered the portal. It's not going to be a pretty picture next year, whoever takes over.
You got our last year's quarterback vying for a Heisman Trophy.
That was 2 years ago's quarterback.
Okay, 2 years ago.
Well, what about Kane Womack? The one who was the defensive coordinator when we were good and then went to South Alabama? He's done a good job at South Alabama. Yeah.
Is this the IU football show now?
Yeah. Shut up, Steve. We had a concerned question about it. So
we were just addressing the audience.
Yeah.
And I didn't see a question in there. I saw.
Well, he said he wanted.
I saw more of a statement.
He said that he wanted John Gruden. We're not.
Well, he didn't say would John Gruden be a good coach. He said he wanted him. That's a statement, not a question.
I know. So I made a statement. I asked Brian what he thought because I thought maybe somebody would care what he thinks. Obviously, you don't, but maybe some people do.
And why is it when we get off the air, you turn around and call me and say you don't give a shit what Brian thinks?
I have never actually called you after a show, Steve. And I don't give a shit what Brian thinks, but other people might. I don't give a shit what you think, Steve, but other people might.
That's
Maybe
evident.
Balin cares. Maybe
It's the
Robert
I don't give a
cares.
shit moment. Here we go.
Yeah.
I just think we need an offensive-minded coach. I mean, you and I talked about this the other day, Mike.
My
I
God,
mean,
are we still talking about football? This is the IU basketball
okay,
show,
let's get
Brian.
off of it then. Shit, you asked me
We're
a
done.
question, I'm giving you a fucking answer.
Oh hell!
All right, let's go.
Yeah, because
Any other thing on Harvard? I thought it was an improvement. I
What
like
if
what
we
I
could
saw.
get Bill Belichick because he might get fired?
I like I like what I saw. I thought the big thing was they played with continuity. They seem to be the most unselfish that I've seen them all year, and seem to be focused on scoring points as a team, not individual. I still think that a great team will always beat a team of great individuals.
Yeah, but I think this. I don't think what you saw in the second half was a team of great individuals. I think
No, they're hurting at guard right now. I tell you what, I would not count on Xavier Johnson being a factor for this basketball team. He'll rise to some occasions, but that kid's been hurt off and on for ever since I've ever heard of him. And I don't think you're going to get a full season out of him this year. I just think he's injury prone. I think maybe he plays too hard. I don't know what his deal is. I've never met the young man. Don't know much about him, but he seems to spend a lot of time on the bench with injuries. In nice Adidas IU gear that we didn't get when I was playing there.
You didn't deserve it.
No, we didn't. We didn't get crap. Because actually, these guys every time they come out, these nice sweatsuits, sweatshirts, different logos and sayings on their shirts, and we didn't get nothing. Didn't get anything. So, but I wouldn't. I think this team's going to have to meld and develop without Xavier Johnson.
Yeah, because you can't really depend on him being there, and it's not his fault.
No, it's not his fault. No, I'm not knocking Xavier Johnson. I just think he's just an injury-prone young man, and I think he'll recover from this at some point, and then 3 games later, something else will happen to him.
All right, guys.
I wouldn't be developing Cups right now. I'd be giving Cups all the minutes he can take.
So we've got Maryland coming up Friday night at Bob Knight's Assembly Hall. I'm not going to call it by that other name because it should just be Bob Knight's Assembly Hall. Maryland started.
I got 30 million reasons why that's not going to happen.
Well, I did too. But it started off. Maryland started off the season. They beat Mount St. Mary's pretty easy. They lost to Davidson. Davidson's a good team. They lost to UAB. So this is a team a lot of people had a lot of hopes for, and they started off, lost 3 straight games to Davidson, UAB, and Villanova. And the Villanova game, they got blown out. The other 2 were close losses. They beat University of Maryland at Baltimore County, and then they beat South Alabama by 13 the other day. So this is a game that is very winnable for Indiana, especially at home right now. And you're playing a Maryland team that's struggling at 3-3, Brian.
Yeah, and I was just looking at their stats. I mean, their 3-point field goal percentage is like 20, just under 22%. They make 5 a game. This should be a game
that's right down our alley.
Yeah, finally for somebody who doesn't shoot a lot of threes.
Yeah, I mean, they do have a decent front court, though, from what I remember last year, what they brought in. You've got Jordan Geronimo, who scored 14 points in the last game. You got Donta Scott, who scored 19, Julian Reese, who scored 19. So this could be a test for the front court, and it's going to be a test for Gabe Cupps because Jameer Young, very good point guard, scored 16 in their last game, which was a win over South Alabama. So I would say you can look at their schedule and what they've done and think it's not really a big threat, but they got some guys that can play here, Brian.
Well, yeah, they do. I mean, they got 3 solid players back from last year, but we just haven't seen it on the court yet.
Yeah.
They may wake up, or maybe they're.
Well, I'll do this too, though. I'll say in their defense, with the schedule they've played, IU's record would probably be the same if they played the same schedule.
You think IU would lose to Davidson?
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Davidson could be a Sweet 16 team this year. Davidson's good. And I've seen them play one other time. Davidson is a good basketball team. And UAB is a very good basketball team, too. And from what we've seen, I mean, Davidson lost by 3 to Clemson. They lost by a point to East Tennessee State, who's good. They blew out Boston University. They got blown out by St. Mary's, who's good. So my point is this. Maryland has played, I think, better competition. I'm not saying we would lose to Davidson or we would lose to UAB, but Davidson and UAB are better than Wright State and Army. I'm just saying they've played a higher level of competition. But IU in the last 3 games has played a decent team in Harvard, maybe the best team in the country in UConn. And I think playing that UConn game has made all the difference in this last week. Because even though they got it handed to them, they played at the highest level of competition you can play in college basketball. And I think ever since you've seen that game, this team has gotten better. I mean, Louisville's bad. Harvard, probably an NIT team this year. But still, they did what they needed to do against Harvard, which is the first time we've seen that. Because with other teams they should have blown out, they were close games that they struggled to win. So I think they're in good shape to win this game. And
Yeah,
Balin just asked, did anybody see where Dan Dockage is getting inducted? Yeah, we had that conversation at the start of the show, Balin. And Steve Risley has decided he no longer wants to be in the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame.
I did not say that.
But they will not give him back the $50,000 he gave them to vote him in. So
That's true.
Go ahead.
So yeah, I think Maryland's definitely a winnable game. You can throw the X factor with Geronimo coming in playing against his former team, but who's Geronimo going to match up against? He's
your phone.
Yeah.
I thought we went over this turning off your phone thing.
Yeah,
Steve's phone never goes off. But then again, I'm the only person that ever calls him.
I knew that was coming.
Well, mine never goes off either because he's the only one that calls me, so it works out all right.
What do you think, Steve? How are we going to do against Maryland?
And when we call each other, all we do is talk about you and your lame-ass website.
He doesn't have a website.
Or Facebook page.
Thank you. Called Got Woodson. You got to check it out. Steve's a member, too, even though he acts like he's not.
No, I'm not a member.
Then how do you share shit on his site?
Yeah, how do you do that, Steve?
I don't know. It just pops up in my groups. I jumped off the website.
It's a Facebook page.
It's only been on there 2 years. Thank you very much.
All
right. So what do you think, Steve? Indiana versus Maryland?
Big Ten's a different dog. And things get a little different. Now you're playing for keeps. These games are all important in a sense of league standings and positioning for the Big Ten tournament, possibly winning the Big Ten. So I don't know. We'll see. I think Indiana's coming into it in the best possible scenario they can hope to come into. They played a very good game, I thought, against Harvard. They're playing at Assembly Hall. It'll be a big crowd in their favor since it's a Big Ten game. And it's a good opportunity for them to get off on a great start in the Big Ten. But let's see. I mean, there's a lot of ifs and nuts and candies and butts in this game. Is Mbako going to duplicate what he did? Are we going to get the solid play out of Ware again?
Hey, to tell you the truth, Steve, Mbako is my only question right now because I would feel really good about this team if this was like the third or fourth game he'd played like that. Now I'm just hoping it doesn't end up being like a Jalen Hood-Schifino where one game he's awesome and the next game
he's exactly. And guard play still is questionable. No depth at guard play right now. I assume that Xavier's out for the next game at least, right?
I would assume. They're not going to say anything till Friday because they don't have to disclose it until Friday morning.
Okay. Yeah. And I mean, that just puts them really at Galloway and Cups. Like I said, I think you could move Renault into a ball handling third guard position. I wouldn't go above that.
I wouldn't. I would just go with CJ Gunn.
Okay, that's another option.
I mean, there's no reason to take away the thing that's working right now. Now, my question is this. I mean, wouldn't this be the time if you were a Maryland? Because Maryland's athletic, too. Would this be the time maybe at least half court press, if not press the whole court, just because I use so low on guards?
I don't know what's the depth of Maryland. What's their depth like? Go for the press full court all the time. You got to have depth.
But the thing is this: you need bodies because you don't have to be great with the defenders, if you know what I mean. As long as you can, and I really don't know. Brian's the one that probably knows all about Maryland basketball.
No.
Damn it.
I know Julian Reese, but I mean, he's one of their top performers. But I don't think they'll press full court.
What's Geronimo doing for him? Is he having any impact?
Well, yeah, he did last game at least. I don't know if he has the entire time.
He's been pretty up and down, though. That was his best game.
That is what Geronimo does. It's up and down.
Balin asked if they think the student section will boo him. Nah, Indiana's generally above that.
They'll boo him.
Will they?
Boo him. Indiana has not been above that since Bobby Knight left.
Okay.
I don't think you can full court this team. I don't think you can full court this team.
I guarantee you can. They're going to get tired, though, is my point, Brian.
Yeah.
I mean, if Cups has got to play all 40 minutes, that's why I would say that. Especially being young and in like his 6th or 7th college game, I would try to pressure him half court. I would try to trap him, make him give up the ball, just because they don't show that they can shoot the three. And Robert says, yo, from Vero. How's it going, Robert? But so give me a prediction. We'll let Brian go first since he nailed the last game, even though he missed by 2 points.
All right. I'm going to say 89-80 Indiana.
All right, Steve.
I was going to say Indiana by 8. I think it'll be a little lower scoring game. I know Mike was excited. They put, 78 points on the board against how many did they score? 89?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in his post-game interview. He was real excited about the offense.
He was very excited about giving up to 76, though, is the way I took it.
Yeah, well, he tries to think he's a defensive-minded coach, but I'm not seeing a lot of great defense out of that team yet.
Robert says 87-72.
And I think it's, I think it'll be a little bit lower scoring game. I'm going to go 78-70.
Yeah, I'm going to go 80-77 IU.
Okay.
Ooh,
and in the end,
I think it
doesn't matter as long as you win, Brian.
That's true.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing Army. Then you need to blow their ass out.
Well, I think if Ware has the game against Maryland like he did against Harvard, which I'm not saying he will, but if he has a duplication of what he did against Harvard, I think they can give him. I think they can have a pretty good game. And
Ware keeps having games like that. He's Big Ten Player of the Year.
No, he's not.
Okay. You're forgetting about Edey.
Yeah. And Edey
looks okay. He's Big Ten runner-up player of the year.
Yeah, because Edey looks better than he did last year. So
I know.
The Purdue team looks scary, guys. I ain't going to lie. I'm not a Purdue fan, but Purdue's scary.
Of course, they looked scary last year, and we beat them twice. So
they didn't look this scary. Because last year, their guard play wasn't that good. The scary thing right now is their guard play is pretty good.
Yeah, I'm focused on Maryland right now, Mike.
Then why'd you bring it up?
I didn't.
Who did?
Brian did.
Oh, yeah. No, you did, because you said Ware was going to be the Big Ten Player of the Year.
No, actually, you brought it up. I said Ware, yeah, you said no Edey, so you brought it up.
No, I just brought up the fact.
All right, move on.
Stupid.
Let's go.
All right, show's over. Everybody leave me the hell alone. What time do we play Friday night, Brian?
7:00 Eastern time.
7 o'clock Eastern. All right, so we'll be back Saturday morning at 11.
It's on Big Ten Network, and then the next game's only on Peacock, so if you want to watch the next game.
Hey, just because you want to say cock on TV live doesn't mean you should be able to say it.
It had nothing like saying cock and then putting a P before it.
Well, that makes it not dirty. That just makes it a bodily function.
Okay, well, I said Peacock.
Well, I did the Black Friday special, and I got Peacock for $20 for a year.
It doesn't matter because I'm going to be watching.
That sounded really dirty.
I'm going to be watching Tiger Woods play in the Hero World Challenge.
What, is that replacing NASCAR?
Yeah, golf does.
Okay.
Go from the most boring sport.
Mike, you know what Hero is?
Do I know what is?
Hero World Challenge.
That sounds like you're jumping out of an airplane. No.
The Hero World Challenge?
Yeah.
I assume it's a golf tournament.
Well, it is, but you know what hero is.
A hero is somebody who does something really good.
Yeah.
It's a conglomerate auto manufacturing company for Asia.
I figured it'd be some bullshit Chinese stuff so we could give them more money.
That's what it is. Look it up. Google it. Google hero.
Hey, we got Michael here. Michael Houghton.
And Michael,
hi,
hey, good to hear from you.
He's back.
Make some more shots. We all agree there. Where you been? But we haven't seen Michael or Becky all year long. What the hell?
I think he may be in a doghouse with his wife.
Why do you say that, Brian? That is just me.
Because I wanted to start some shit. Yeah.
Had a number 3 sighting last game. Who's number 3?
Is it Anthony Leal? Because to me, number 3 is Jay Edwards. Oh, Robert says, "Hey, Becky." So Robert has always done it. Robert, Becky is a married woman. Please back off. Hit on Steve. He's single right now because his wife's at work. All right, guys. Anything else before we wrap it up?
We're going to watch the Maryland game tonight and see how they do against what no name are they playing?
Ryder.
No,
I'm not. Why? Are you?
Probably not.
All right.
I thought you would.
Michael is in Florida. Becky's in Indy. Now, what are you saying, Brian? I got better shit to do than watch Maryland play Ryder.
Do you?
Yeah. Literally anything I could possibly do.
Think of.
Yes, anything I could think of. That would be better than watching Maryland play Ryder.
There we go. Risley's throwing his ring off again.
Oh, his ring is weak, too. Look at that. It looked like my class ring from high school. If you want, I can get in the safety deposit box and bring out some rings that have a little bit more diamonds and shit in them.
You're my idol, Mike.
Michael says IU 80, Maryland
You're the person
78.
I aspire to be.
Oh, will you be quiet, Risley?
It's true. I want to be you.
You really have low aspirations.
You're the big cheese.
Top dog.
Go ahead. Keep going. I mean, we won't end the show till you guys are done throwing compliments at me.
Head honcho.
Yeah.
Numero uno.
Yeah. And what are you, Steve?
I'm just a dumbass.
There. That is the greatest show ending ever. I was just going to end it right on that. But all right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Steve's not a dumbass, but he plays one on the internet. We're going to go ahead. We're going to wrap the show up. Make sure you follow Risley at srisley34 on Twitter. You can follow Brian Mohr at.
In all seriousness, send Dan Dockage a note congratulating him on making the Hall of Fame. That's an honor. And despite any differences I would have with Dan, I'm going to send him a note and congratulate him. And everybody who's a Hoosier fan should too. He is a Hoosier player. He is a Hoosier coach. And while we don't agree with his politics or his philosophies, he is a Hoosier.
I don't know what his politics or his philosophies are.
Neither do I, but I probably don't agree with him. But
I think he's a Donald Trump guy.
Well, I'm a Donald Trump guy.
And see, I'm my own man. I don't let other men be my man.
Actually, I wish to be a Melania Trump guy.
Why?
I don't know. I tell you what, for
50-year-old woman, and hooker to me. But what the hell? Whatever floats your boat.
Goodbye.
All right, Brian. What's your Facebook page or your Twitter handle?
Twitter page BK as in Burger King. MOHRINFL.
You really got BK?
Yeah.
People like you scare me. I mean, you're the kind of guy who pulls out a gun and just starts shooting people in Assembly Hall.
That is so rude. It's Bob Knight.
My middle name's Keith, so it's BK. Brian K.
No, I'm just saying it's rude because it's Bob Knight Assembly Hall.
Yeah.
Say it right.
How about Night
guys?
Court?
That'll work too, but nobody will know how to spell it because it's Indiana. All right, guys. Plus, Harry Anderson will have to be on the court. We're going to go ahead. We're going to wrap the show up.
Hey, wait a minute here. Michael brings up a good point. Mike, why don't you apply for the IU job?
I'm busy.
You would fit right in. You would be a
You
perfect coach.
Actually, how would I fit in with the losingest program in the history of Western civilization?
You could be another Kevin Wilson.
No, I don't molest people and cheat on my wife. So.
No, I don't think you do that.
No. And Kevin Wilson was a crackpot. He was a good coach.
Wendy tells me you're pretty loyal. So
pretty, except for when it comes to you, Steve.
No.
All right, guys, you can follow me.
I live in California, Mike.
You can follow me at Grueling Truth. BetMGM, check them out. Show's over. I got nothing.
Mike's rattled.
I'm not rattled. I got nothing else to say. All right, guys. For
Hey,
Brian
wait,
Mohr,
Risley, Steve.
Yeah.
Are you going to watch the big debate tomorrow night?
What debate?
DeSantis versus your slick-haired guy out in California.
Oh, Gavin Asshole.
Oh, are they doing that tomorrow night? Oh, yeah, I'll watch that.
I'll watch that too. It's nothing like watching two dumbasses from separate sides.
I'll tell you what. If I was a Democrat right now, I'd dump Biden and I'd run Newsom. Newsom would kill Biden or Trump.
How could a communist run for president, though?
He'll kill Trump.
No, he wouldn't.
He would kill Trump. Trump would implode.
How?
He could, because Newsom would just wait him out, and that fuse would be lit, and he would just wait till that bomb exploded, and it will explode.
I couldn't see people voting for Joe Biden or Donald Trump, and they did. So what the hell? Who cares? All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. Sylvester Stallone for president. I don't know why nobody's ever said it. Brian Mohr, Steve Risley. I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been watching and listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.